95% of these people don't be here.
Excuse me. The June 26th work session meeting of the Cinnaminson Township Committee is now being called to order. Please rise and join me in saluting the flag, please. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Notice of this meeting was published in the Burlington County Times and the Courier Post on January 6, 2023. We have roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Horner.
Here.
Mrs. Craybill.
Present.
Mr. Seagrass.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Konda.
Here.
Mayor McGill.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is the committee liaison reports. Start off with Committee Member Horner for Finance and Economic Development, please.
Mr. Mayor, nothing new to add since my last report.
Thank you, sir. Next is Committee Member Cravel, Parks and Recreation and Veterans Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to thank everyone that helped coordinate our Juneteenth event. We had an amazing turnout, and the hard work of all involved was recognized by everyone in attendance. We have a lot of community events and programs happening this summer at Wood Park. First, we have Movie in the Park, the Mario Brothers movie, which was rescheduled for Saturday, July 1st. Our summer concert series will be starting Thursday, July 6th at 7 p.m. Our first featured band will be Beatlemania Again, a Beatles tribute band. The concerts will continue every Thursday evening and run through August 31st. Summer tennis lessons will resume July 11th through August 17th, and they take place every Tuesday and Thursday at the tennis courts at Wood Park. The program is open to all residents ages 5 and up. The Municipal Alliance will be hosting a Glow basketball event scheduled for Monday, August 14th. Details to come in the coming weeks. This concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mrs. Cravel. Next will be Committee Member Seagrass with Public Works, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Works Department personnel continue with brush collection operations. Residents are reminded to keep all curbside brush piles at least 10 feet away from all storm drains, per New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. PSC&G's paving contractor South State is currently working on road restoration on New Albany Road and will soon begin work on Perry Road. For additional information or concerns pertaining to the project, please call 833-661-6400. On tonight's agenda is a contract award for Phase 1 lighting improvements to Wood Park. Work should begin later this summer. The current plan is give me 1 second. The current plan is to phase in lighting improvements over a 3-year period. So this is just Phase 1 of those 3 years. On tonight's agenda is the filing of a grant application to the NJDOT for various improvements to Fork Landing Road, including milling and overlay, driveway aprons, sidewalks, ADA curb ramps, and striping. The township recently secured $25,000 in grant funding from NJDEP to assist with NJDEP required stormwater mapping requirements. The township recently secured $226,340 in grant funding from NJDOT for the reconstruction of Morgan Avenue. Township engineer Remington and Vernick is preparing design and specifications for the project. As part of its 2023 Capital Road Improvement Program, Township engineer Remington and Vernick is preparing base plans for roadway improvements to Magnolia Court, South Randolph Avenue, Endicott Avenue, and New Albany Road. That completes my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seagrass. Deputy Mayor Konda for Administration, Health, and Senior Services, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I only have one thing. Actually, I have a few things, but one of them will be addressed later in this meeting. but I just wanted to mention that the Cinnaminson Police Association is sponsoring a senior citizen bus trip to the Tropicana Casino in Atlantic City. There are 52 slots available for Cinnaminson senior residents, 55 and above, as you can go.
I make it. Sweet.
The event is on August
Hope I
8th.
would.
The bus will be leaving from the Cinnaminson Municipal Complex here at 10 a.m. and will depart the Tropicana for home at 5:30 p.m. There is no cost for the trip, but reservations are on a first-come, first-served basis. You can sign up following the link to the Sign Up Genius, and that link is on the Cinnaminson Township Police Department's Facebook page. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. For public safety, the June 23rd, 2023 activity report is as follows. Total incidents responded to was 1995. Total arrests made, 27. Total property checks made was 589. Total motor vehicle stops, 306. Total motor vehicle summonses, 379. Total DWI arrests was 9. And Morgan Cemetery calls was 1. That concludes my report. Next, we have a couple presentations. First one is for Erin Clark. Erin has performed at numerous township events and services and is now moving on to college. Can I please have Erin Clark come forward to the dais? Right up here. Yeah. Get in the good side. Yeah, I have the side.
There's a lot of whereases, so just bear with me, please. Whereas Cinnaminson Township Committee strives to recognize individuals who have exceptionally successful in their pursuit of education and enrichment and are able to balance their many activities and commitments. And whereas Erin Clark, that's you, is a Cinnaminson resident and graduate of Cinnaminson High School class of 2023. And whereas Erin's interests are varied and equally impressive as her academic accomplishments. She was captain of the varsity cheerleading squad, has participated in dance both as a student and instructor, is a member of the All South Jersey Chorus, and was inducted to the National Honor Society as a junior. And whereas Erin has volunteered her time and exhibited her community pride by participating in Youth and Government Day as an 8th grader and performing the national anthem and God Bless America at several Cinnaminson Township events, including the annual Memorial Service Day and 911 service. And whereas Cinnaminson Township Committee wishes to recognize the accomplishments of this outstanding resident, as well as her instructors, family, teachers, and administrators who had a part in providing the motivation, atmosphere, learning tools, and skills necessary for her success. Take a breath. Whereas Cinnaminson Township Committee wishes to recognize her as well as all of her accomplishments and commitment to her hometown. And now, therefore, no more whereases. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Cinnaminson Township Committee of Township of Cinnaminson, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, recognizes and commends Erin Clark for her impressive accomplishments. Be it further resolved that the Township Committee, along with the community of Cinnaminson, wishes Erin best wishes while pursuing musical theater at Sanitary University and for a successful future. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Takes me a while. I'm a senior citizen now.
Whereas you are.
Whereas I'm a senior citizen. Okay, our second presentation tonight is recognition of retiring zoning and code enforcement officer John Marshall. Our zoning and code enforcement officer John Marshall is retiring on June 30th after 35 years of service to Cinnaminson Township. John, can you please come forward to the front of the dais?
John, you
please?
can sit. You're good. You can stay there for a minute.
Whereas I'm good.
Whereas, stay where you are for a minute.
You're the best, man. Today we honor and celebrate the retirement of an exceptional individual who has dedicated 35 years of service to our community. It is my privilege to sit before you and pay tribute to John Marshall, the code enforcement officer of Cinnaminson, New Jersey. Retirement marks an end of an era, but it also serves as a moment to reflect on the countless contributions made by an individual throughout their career. John Marshall's journey as code enforcement officer has been one defined by dedication, professionalism, and an unwavering commitment to making our town a better place to live. John grew up in South Philadelphia and Willingboro, learning lessons from some of South Philly's most famous and sometimes infamous leaders. He and his now wife, Susan, moved to Cinnaminson in 1978. John was a long-haired, long-bearded biker who worked in construction and also at Harris Fencing for Jim Harris Company. John started his own fencing company shortly after moving here in 1980, Marshall Fence Installations. He raised his two sons, Jed and Jake, in Cinnaminson, both graduating from Cinnaminson High School. He was a football coach for many years, with former players still calling him a friend, and some even better, calling him family. In 1988, John was asked to consider code enforcement by then committee member Don Lamont. At the time, Grace Campbell was serving as township clerk and also doing code enforcement. John agreed to do a 2 to 4 month stint, trimmed his hair and his beard, and went to work. After a year went by, John agreed to stay on, working 2 days for the township and 5 days running his fencing business. In the 1990s, John, along with other professionals, developed a zoning course, a zoning principles course, after being asked by Rutgers University. John taught zoning principles throughout southern New Jersey to up-and-coming professionals. In 2002, he took a full-time position with Cinnaminson, working 5 days for the township and still working at his fencing business the other 2 days. John has touched so much of Cinnaminson's business community and development. He served on the planning board for over 22 years. Up and down Route 130, East Riverton, and almost every part of this town, he has helped mature what you see today, what it is today. As we bid farewell to John, let us take a moment to express our deepest gratitude for his outstanding service to our town. We are indebted to him for the countless lives he has touched and the positive impact he has had on our community. John's unwavering commitment to his work and the care he showed towards each citizen will leave an indelible mark on Cinnaminson, reminding us of the importance of upholding the values of service, integrity, and compassion. John and I spoke a couple times prior to tonight's meeting. I wanted to get a better understanding of his history with the town and how he got here. And I can tell you he's a passionate guy, and he wants to do things right for the right reasons. During our conversations, there was a common theme, something he brought up several times, is that he loved making a difference in this town and in the lives of the people who live here. On behalf of the entire community of Cinnaminson, I offer my congratulations on your retirement, John. Thank you for your unwavering service. May the future hold nothing but happiness and contentment for you, sir. All right, one picture, John.
John, may I keep up forward, please?
Come on up, John.
I don't get old warehouses. Thank you.
No, you never hung out with her.
Right here, go for a ride, brother.
Best of luck, John.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Necker.
Necker.
Sorry for a back. Oof. I don't know why I'm sitting down. Okay, our next order of business is the swearing of Police Sergeant Garrett McLafferty. Mr. McLafferty, can you please come up to the front of the dais, please? Do I need him?
Okay. Ready? Sergeant-elect. Repeat after me. I, Garrett McLafferty, know whereas in this one, swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and in this state, under the authority of the people, so help me God. I do further solemnly swear that I will impartially and justly perform all duties of the sergeant of the office of police sergeant according to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. You gotta sign, it's not official. Congratulations, you're married.
Mayor, may I say something?
Absolutely.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say that 9 years ago, when Garrett came to us from a smaller, less popular police department, I was his first training officer. And he was half my age, a couple inches taller, and a lot faster. And there's no greater honor but to see someone that you trained not only grow as a man, but to come up through the ranks and be the officer he is today, and I couldn't be prouder.
Nah, Mark's got it.
Can I do a picture real quick?
Eric.
Enjoy your family. Thank you. You guys are free in the front.
Garrett, hold on 1 second.
You said some of that going on Minnehaha tonight?
Just so you know, anybody that doesn't want to stay for the rest of the meeting and just here for this stuff, you guys can go. We're not going to take offense to it, trust me.
It's a little bigger, brother.
Hold on, I'm giving you a sign.
Just kidding. Sure, thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
My chair.
Can I hold your chair? No. I'm from Pet Center. You don't want to hold.
First guy through was leaving, right?
Huh?
Which one is Jacob? Jacob's a good player. He's a good player.
Excellent. Excellent. You can hit it. He'll continue to get better, but he's a stud shortstop.
He's going to play 2 years.
Yes. Well, he should play shortstop.
No hard.
All right, on to our next item. It's a consent agenda. Mr. Schuberger, can you please give some detail regarding the resolutions on tonight's consent agenda, please?
Sure, Mayor. We have a number of resolutions on tonight's agenda, starting with Resolution 83, authorizing an award of contract for field lighting improvements to Wood Park. Our township engineer, Remington and Vernick, prepared the specifications for field lighting improvements at the park. Bids were received for these improvements and reviewed by our professionals. Our CFO, purchasing agent, Ms. Edmondson, recommends that the governing body, based upon the bid, authorize the award of contract to Ronald Janney Electric in the amount of $450,000 for that project. Resolution 84 is authorizing the purchase of a telephone system from Revell through the TIPS Cooperative Purchasing Agreement. The township is in need of a new telephone system and related support services. After review by our professionals, it's been determined that the best available pricing is with Revell through the TIPS Cooperative Pricing Purchasing Program in the amount of $9,749.35. Ms. Edmondson, once again, she's determined that sufficient funding is available for this purpose and recommends that the governing body authorize the purchase tonight. Resolution 85 is authorizing the filing of the New Jersey Department of Transportation fiscal year 2024 trust fund grant that was referenced earlier tonight. This resolution will permit the township to file the grant application to the DOT in the amount of $445,810 for various improvements to Fork Landing Road. Those improvements include milling and overlay, replacement of driveway aprons, sidewalk, ADA compliant curb ramps, and traffic striping. Resolution 86 is authorizing the change order and final payment for storm sewer repairs on Morgan Avenue. Our project engineer, Remington and Vernick, has reviewed the project, performed the inspections, and recommends a change order which reduces the contract amount by $3,890 and a final payment to contractor R. Maslowski Excavating in the amount of $2,336.60. Ms. Edmondson has determined that sufficient funding is available for this as well and recommends that the governing body authorize the payment tonight. Resolution 87 is for authorizing a change order and payment for the library roof replacement project. Remington and Vernick also reviewed this project, performed all the inspections, and recommends a change order which also reduces the contract amount, in this case by $29,454.50, and a payment to contractor Robert Ganter Contractors in the amount of $24,416.61. Excuse me. And yes, Ms. Edmondson also has determined, again, funding is available for that purpose and recommends that you authorize the payment tonight. Two more, Mayor. Resolution 87 is authorizing the participation in the Houston-Galveston Area Council, also known as HGAC, Cooperative Purchasing Agreement. This is an agreement that will enable the township to obtain competitive pricing and timely delivery of certain goods and services, including vehicles, generators, and construction equipment. And finally, Resolution 88, authorizing the Municipal Alliance Grant. This application will be filed with the Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse for fiscal year 2024 funding in the amount of $7,394. This is an annual grant filing. The program enables us to promote youth development through a variety of programs and education. So we collectively and jointly recommend authorization by the governing body for the filing of that grant tonight. Mayor, that concludes my comments, I believe, on the consent agenda.
What's that? Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Trueberry. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, the last two resolutions should be 88 and 89, not 87 and 88.
Oh, I repeated one. Thanks, Mr. Horner.
Thank you, Mr. Horner.
Got it.
88 and 89.
Thank you for that thorough report. We're not going to have open public comment on the consent agenda items only. Can I have a motion to open public comment on the consent agenda items?
Mr. Mayor, I will make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. I'll second that. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Public comment on the consent agenda is now open. Please come forward, state your name and your address for the record, please. Bueller? No one? Seeing no one? Okay, I will make a motion to close public comment on the consent agenda. Can I have a second, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Horner. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Now can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Segrist. Can I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Cravel. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor Miguel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did everyone get a chance to read the minutes from last meeting? June 25th or
Yes,
June
sir.
5th?
I have.
Yes, Mayor.
Great, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for June 5th, 2023. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass.
I have to abstain.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor Miguel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Approval of bills. Everybody get a chance to look at the bill list before tonight?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the bill list?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. I will second that. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Horner.
Aye.
Mrs. Craybill.
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Conda.
Aye.
Mayor Miguel.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is staff and professional comments. Any comments from our staff or professionals this evening?
None
Anyone?
from me, Mayor.
Anyone?
Mayor, I just have a few. We had some very positive items on the agenda tonight, as I know you're aware. I want to congratulate Erin. Good luck in college. I thank you so much for making my job very easy and finding someone to sing at our events.
You can always come back.
Just saying.
Someone
You're always
can sing, too.
welcome back. Always nice to see you at our events, and best of luck to you. John, congratulations. You deserve it. Have a very happy and healthy retirement. I can't say it any better than Mr. Seagrass did, so I won't try to. But thank you very much for your service. And then also now Sergeant McClaverty, I think he's now has left the building.
He's standing right up back. I can see him.
So if you talk
Probably
loud.
hear me if I yell enough.
Probably.
No. Thank you. I'll see him tomorrow, I'm sure. But congratulations. And as Chief Calabrese said, watching these officers come through and make rank and continue to succeed and help this town is really nice to see. So very proud of him as well, and wish him the best of luck in his new role. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Kevin? Yeah. That's 2 thumbs up, thank you. Okay, public comment is now, next on our agenda. Can I have a motion to open public comment, please?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to open public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Horner. I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Nays? The ayes have it. Public comment is now open. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record, please. Put on my glasses so I can see distance.
Good evening. Jermella Shepherd, 215 Front Street in Palmyra, New Jersey, speaking on behalf of the Civic Club of Riverton, East Riverton, and Palmyra. Erin, congratulations. I'm also a graduate of Cinnaminson High School. However, I'm 3 times your age, and I was in the first graduating class.
Wow. Nice.
I want to thank Mr. Marshall, because growing up and living in East Riverton, no offense, guys, but he's the only person that I knew that was on the township committee. Maybe because he was the only one that was familiar with East Riverton. But he was there, he did come to our meetings, and I would just like to say thank you. Ms. Cavall, I think the June 19th celebration was great. We had a great time, and it was nice seeing every one of you there. Now to the real stuff.
Thank you for your comments. Pleasure to have you today.
For you people that have never been there, he has never said that to me. Okay, I want to give like sort of a brief summary of things that have happened at the East Riverton Park. I want to start by saying some things that were done. Before COVID, there was an issue with our tennis court, and it hadn't been fixed. However, the tennis court has been fixed. Right now, it needs a few minor repairs, but the tennis court has been fixed. There was a discussion at the end of 2022, going into 2023. There was a question of removing the tennis court and putting in 3 pickleball courts. It did not go over well with the residents in Cinnaminson. So we came before the board here, and it was discussed that the tennis court would remain, and there would be no 3 pickleball courts. Also along this time, driving past the East Riverton Park, we noticed that all the trees were taken down, and no one above had mentioned it, why the trees were taken down. Later, we found that the trees were taken down because there was going to be improvements at East Riverton Park. The trees that were taken down have now been replaced. Along with that, there was supposed to be a resurfacing of the playground, a swing that was ADA compliant, and a road leading to the playground, mostly for handicap accessible, and sometimes the strollers can't make up the little hill. Some of you are not familiar with Cinnaminson, but it's not a flat surface. From the road, it goes up and out. So today, I'm here addressing those things. But I would also like to mention something else. I guess by now you guys know that I proofread for a living, taught high school for a living, so taking notes is part of my job. At that time, in East Riverton, we had asked for a larger sliding board. Some of the parents had asked that there's a beautiful sliding board and playground in East Riverton, but some of the parents felt that the sliding board could be a little bit taller for the ages 8 to 12, because they really didn't have anything to do. We asked for 2 seesaws. I just want to report that a group of us from the East Riverton community had went and visited all 6 of the other playgrounds. Everybody had basically the same things, but East Riverton Park did not have any seesaws at all. At that time, we asked for a bicycle rack, a storage shed, and a path to walk around the park. Later on, when the discussion was up about the East Riverton Park, someone said, and I believe it was on the panel, I'll look it up in a minute, and they said that Cinnaminson Park would have a gazebo or a pavilion or some kind of covering. I think everybody remembers that conversation. Am I correct? Am I correct? Oh, one person, thank you, Mr. Conda, he remembers. Well, as of today, I went by the park, and what is in the park is a large, square platform, just a large square. Large square, and in the center of the large square is a tree. My question, and from the East Riverton community, is what is going on that large square? And then next to the large square are 2 smaller squares. So my question is, what is going on there? Also, during this revitalization of East Riverton Park, they took down the baseball diamond, which they did say they were taking down, and make it a multi-purpose playground, which is great, because everybody gets to play different sports, different things. So it'll be great. And everything sounds great, except for today, none of this has been done. Is it coming along? And then I heard a statement that everything that was at East Riverton Park was now finished. I don't understand how it can be finished if these things haven't been accomplished. And are they going to be accomplished as promised? Questions.
Yeah.
Calling for answers. Please speak slow. Could I write this down? Because I have to take it back.
Sure.
I'm ready.
Ms. Shepherd, I had a couple questions if you don't mind.
Certainly.
Sure. So you referenced a storage shed was something that the residents in East Riverton had put on it, and I'll call it a wish list. My words, not yours.
Yes, it's true. It was on a wish list.
Yeah, so let me ask you real quick, in regards to a storage shed, what's the purpose of the storage shed, and who would have access to it in your group's mind?
Okay. When the storage shed was asked for, when I was younger, go ahead, much younger, during the summer, there would be a summer program at the East Riverton Park. And they used to have a storage box that would have our, the baseball, but then it had baseball bats, and it had, how many things? They had the baseball bats there, they had the bases, and there were 2 ladies that came out and played games with us, and they kept the games and stuff in there. We haven't had that in a while. But one of the persons a little bit younger than me had asked for that, and that's why it was listed on the wish list.
Yeah, I personally don't know if there's any other park that has that.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that that's, and I certainly can't speak for everybody, but I don't know that that's something we would.
That was
we
something
would
that was
consider.
had before.
Yeah, got it.
If I may, we've had, I lived near Garfield Park, and I used to go to Garfield Park all the time, as Mr. Trampe, remember?
That's the guy with the beard.
Yeah, the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
The other beard. Yeah, back in the day, they did have there was high school kids or college kids would come in and do this. We had a summer program for all the parks.
Right.
Garfield, Fountain Farms, all of them. I don't think, Kevin, I don't think we do that anymore.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
I
I
will
think
just,
that's why that hasn't, probably part of the reason why there's not a storage facility down there.
okay.
And then, Ms. Shepherd, who specifically told you everything was finished down there? And I'm not questioning you, I'm sincerely asking you the question.
Okay, at the meeting, which was not the last meeting, but the meeting before, it was says that everything that's being done at the park was done.
Yeah, I don't know that that's an accurate characterization of what was said at the meeting. I think, and I don't want to speak because I'm sure it wasn't me that said that, but I think What you may be referring to was when we were discussing pickleball versus tennis, and I do believe that there was a statement made at that time that as it is right now, there are no plans to make any changes to the tennis courts, but I do not recall anybody up here saying that everything was completed. I think contrary to that, I do believe we had a conversation at the last meeting about the coverage over top of the pavilion area. And I do believe there was discussion in regards to, and I don't know the technical term, Kevin can probably correct me on this, I'm going to call them big nylon triangular type of coverings. It's the best
We're
way.
looking to various shade structures.
Yeah.
For the picnic tables that are currently on order, and please, I don't want to speak out of turn, but they are scheduled to ship within this week, and we're scheduled to install as soon as they're done, along with the new ADA swing and the playground launch.
Okay.
that we
So I think-
discussed.
So what does that tree do in the middle of the square? You're putting some, you can't put anything over the
So that
tree.
will encompass shade overall, so that's about a 40 to 50 foot shade tree once it's fully matured, but that's not the shade structure that we're talking about. That's going to be more of a focal tree, you see that, and it's going to grow with the park.
Okay, so, but there will be some kind of structure, am I
We are
correct?
looking at various things that we can do to complement all the landscape and the hardscape that we've been installing at the park.
Okay,
So I think, Ms. Shepherd, if I may, just finish this up, at least my portion of it anyway. I think it's safe to say that that's not an accurate characterization that everything is finished, right? I think it's something that we're still working on. There's still things that have to come in. I know the swing was on the agenda that we had
yes, well,
authorized.
someone had already mentioned before that the swing would be here.
Yeah.
We know it's on the way. We know
Right.
that the table and benches are on the way,
Right.
because that was already explained by somebody. at the
Sure.
board. So we already
Sure.
knew that. So that was there.
Sure.
And seesaws,
Yeah, that I can't speak to.
can anyone speak to it?
What are we speaking to? That you-
Seesaw.
No, I heard that part, I'm sorry. So you think we should have seesaws, and you're asking, are we ordering them?
Okay, it's
I
not
just
what
wanna
I
make sure
think, it's what I was told to ask. Are seesaws coming?
Seesaws are not currently ordered.
No seesaw, will they be ordered?
I don't know, but to go back to your statement, I'll piggyback off of Committee Member Horner. Not only is the statement that East Riverton is done not accurate, East Riverton Park, and I mean the park, East Riverton Park will never be done, Wood Park will never be done, Memorial Park will never be done.
Oh, yes, I do understand
I
that.
just want to, because that's how we handle things up here. We are continually putting aside plans and funding to continue to improve the parks every single year. So even if we get a few things done this year for East Riverton Park or any of the other parks, I'm sure with the support of the Township Committee, we'll be doing other things at all the parks in the future. It's an ongoing mission of ours to continually improve the parks. So they'll never be really done, the parks.
Okay. Now, my understanding from coming to several previous meetings, and you can correct me, but my understanding was every 2 years, that one park would be sort of maybe dominant or getting more than the other. But every 2 years, a park would be
Refreshed?
refreshed more than the
Upgraded.
other, refreshed more than the others. And I was understanding that this year was East Riverton's revitalization. And that's why I was asking if these things are going to be done. I know, because I've been to all the other parks, so I know what all the other parks look like. And like I said, they're basically all the same. So that wasn't my problem. My problem was asking about the two seesaws and the lady and about something for the ages 8 to 12, because they wanted a higher slide board.
So,
So
Mayor,
that
if I-
was just a mother's thing, saying there wasn't anything for the 8 to 12.
Understood. And I think what you just said about the focal point of our efforts, now you're more in line with kind of what our vision is. So that is accurate. I think every year, and this year and even last year, more funding has been allocated towards improvements at East Riverton Park, while we are also doing things at the other parks. And then depending on how things are and the assessments we get from staff or the public, we may shift gears and allocate more funding to another park. So that statement, that's more in line
Okay.
with what we try to do.
Okay, now here's something that I think needs to be looked at. Okay. The basketball court has to be resurfaced. And I went around to the other basketball courts, and it seems though the East Riverton basketball court is the worst. And I'm basing that on the cracking, but the East Riverton basketball court, there are weeds growing in the cracks. So compared to the other the other basketball courts, I think ours needs to be done fairly quickly, if possible. Okay. The playground, the little children's playground, the shock absorbing surface that is there now is being overrun by weeds. So I think something should be done for that, if possible, soon, because the kids are out there playing.
So
And
on that
Go
one, I
ahead.
could actually comment, if that's okay.
Go ahead, yeah.
So I hate to interrupt, but since I'm going to forget, because you have a lot of things to bring to our attention. The safety surfacing's already ordered.
Yes.
Mr. Gaunt, I think that should be in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we're
The surfacing?
expecting- Yeah, we should have that.
Okay.
within the
So
week.
that issue
Soon as
should
we
be,
get
should be
it.
checked off soon. I don't guarantee delivery times these days, but it should be soon.
Okay. And let's see what else I have here. Oh, this is just a safety concern. As you know, the rail line stops about 2 blocks from the East Riverton Park. If there's any way we could have more security out there, meaning just more policemen ride around a little bit at night, because when people get off the train, they can walk anywhere. They walk up Union Landing, they walk through the park, there's still little children out there sometimes. And
We can
There's a halfway-
consult with the chief of police as to what are the best times for that after the meeting.
yes, he always has our back. And sometimes our front, right? Okay, so we were just concerned because there is a halfway house in the area, and we don't really know about those people. Not that there's anything wrong with them, everybody has to have a second chance. But we were concerned about the light bearer, which is nothing we could do. But we did ask for more lighting, and I believe, Kevin, there's more lighting on that pole
Lighting.
over the park, where the children play. I saw 2 poles.
Yeah, there's lighting at the park. Yeah,
So
they
that
go
was,
off the street and light.
that was already taken care of. Kevin, thank you. Okay, I think I'm finished.
Sure? I don't want you to forget anything now. I don't want you to forget anything. You got it.
Okay, let me just check. Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Please
you.
have a nice
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you, Ms.
Thanks.
Shepherd.
Good evening, Renee Oler Davis, 2108 Hunter Street, corner of Hunter and Davis. I just wanted to add one addendum to that, and that is, yes, we want to keep the tennis courts. However, as I said before, we want it all. We would like to have pickleball too. So going forward, I would like to have that put on the agenda going forward, please.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ray Johnston for Chestnut Hill Court. Since we're on the topic of parks, I'd like to talk about Ravenswood Park and the plans for the tennis courts. So as I understand it, the township have gotten some funds from Burlington County or the state or whatever to do improvements to the tennis courts or to Ravenswood Park. And one of the proposals is to put in 3 pickleball courts. I live 20 feet. I measured it, 20 feet from the edge of the courts. Pickleball is very loud. And I just want to know if you are considering the fact that there are several homes within 20, 30 feet of those courts. And if you put in 3 pickleball courts, dedicated pickleball courts, you're going to have people there dawn to dusk playing pickleball because it's exploded in popularity. And we'll have to live with it. The neighbors have to live with that noise all day long. So, I mean, there's things that you can do. You can mitigate the noise. You can put up noise barriers, things like that. But I'm just concerned that that's not even being considered. So I'd ask, is it being considered? Is the noise issue being considered?
I will speak for the committee, Mr. Johnson. Yes.
Yes,
the
we've
noi-
had some
Yes,
email
we have
correspondence,
messaged back and forth
Stephanie,
several
yes.
times. Yes, we are considering the noise. There's been no decisions in regards to pickleball or how we're even going to introduce pickleball and if it's going to be at that park, if it's going to, where it's going to be. It's a heavy concern of ours, any sort of disturbance that it will have for our residents.
For sure.
I mean, if you're going to choose a location for pickleball courts to try to keep it away from residences, you couldn't have picked a worse spot than Ravenswood Park and the tennis courts there. Like I said, they're right up against the homes. Why they built the tennis courts there back in the 60s or 70s, whenever they built it, I don't know.
Every park in town that has tennis courts are near residents. I mean, that's just the way they were designed.
They could have built them 100
Right.
feet away
Right.
when they built them, like I said, back in the 60s or 70s, whenever they did it.
Well, the only person old enough up here that was back in the 60s was Mr. Shoebigger, so everybody else.
Yeah, well, I moved to Cinnaminson with my parents in 1962, and I was in the third graduating class of Cinnaminson. She outdid me with the first graduating class, but I was in the third.
We take your concerns into consideration.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
And when will a decision be made as to what's going to happen with the tennis
I don't know
courts?
that we have a time frame on that.
You don't have a time frame on it?
I'll keep you posted, but we are not
Please.
on the verge of making a decision anytime soon.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a lot of things and we need to take into consideration.
Yes.
There's a lot of options and we're thinking outside of the box, so.
One of the other things you need to consider, I think, if you're going to have a lot of people coming in, like I said, if you have 3 pickleball courts, you're going to have 12 people at least, and you're going to have 8 people waiting, 20 people. There's no restroom facilities in Ravenswood Park whatsoever.
Yep. Good point.
That's an issue.
Yep. Good point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Goins, 100 Brittenell, reference to Morgan Cemetery again. It's been a while since we've gotten any update from the people from Morgan when they're going to do anything. Eric, I know in your email a month ago you said you were going to circle back, and Bob circled with you last week rather. I do find it interesting that they told the congressman, the senator rather, office, that they didn't really have money for some of the upgrades and for the residents to do a fundraiser, but yet they have a chipper over there and a big dumpster that they spent 2 weeks cutting down trees so they can add more grave sites, but they don't have money for the gates. That's my comment on that.
Thank you. Eric.
Yeah, they told the senator that have the residents get together and organize fundraisers for them.
Unbelievable.
Mayor,
Yes.
may I? Just,
Yes, sure.
it was brought up, I did reach back out to the leadership of the cemetery and awaiting some response. And I'd be happy to provide you and your neighbors with an update as soon as I get it. I'm keeping on.
I thought we had about trees.
Well,
Good evening, Ben Young, 116 Woodview Lane.
hey, Ben.
I'd bring any problems.
Ben, before you go on, are you for pickleball or tennis, or both?
Bocce. It's going to be
The
bocce
guy in the
ball.
corner. The guy, bocce, we'll get to bocce in a minute. I do have a complaint. I want to start off by saying, I've had the privilege of knowing John literally since he moved to town. And we are losing a huge resource to this community. And it's going to be a big void to fill. Even though we're pretty well developed, when we're well developed, the next thing you face is zoning issues because everybody now wants to do something else. So I think you've got a real challenge on your hands, and don't let John get too far away.
We know where he lives.
He along with, and you heard her name, Grace Campbell, and Fran Lusner, and probably Joan Novotosky, are the people that you all should talk to because they know the history of this town inside out. I would challenge any of you to know that there used to be a railroad station at the corner of Taylor's Lane. I would challenge any of you to know that Hathaway's basement used to be the police headquarters. These people know this stuff. Don't let it get away from you. There used to be a cove at the end of Zeisner Street where you could dock your boat from the river. Today, the river's a half a mile away. Those are things that, in the history of this town, you need to keep track of. Not only have I known John all these years, he's now my bocce partner. And he does need work, but so does the bocce court. We're still looking for our lights and an electrical outlet. But he is a huge resource to the town, and we've been blessed to have him. And you may not know, but he's a member of Mensa, so he's a pretty smart guy. Sometimes I don't know, it shows, but most of the time, he's a pretty smart guy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Thank you, Ben.
Ben, I think I want to say thank you, but I'm really not sure.
Rumor is he's not retiring, that he's moving on to professional bocce.
Well, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, I heard.
Anyone else? Come forward, state your name and address for the record, please.
Ron Trampay, 112 Cuthbert Road. I got three little things. At the end of Cuthbert, they did a ton of construction, I think last summer or into the last fall prior to that. The project looks great, but if you still get your full moon, your high tide, it's still a swimming pool down there. So I don't know if there's any plans to try to remediate that. I know water's a tremendous headache, but you go down there, the police barricades are always up. You'll see a car every 3 storms, totaled on the side. It's still an issue. So just something to consider. Like what they've done looks great, but there needs to be more to that, and I don't know what that answer is. So I don't have a solution for you.
Thank you.
I want to thank the parks for the lights for the basketball courts over by Extension Park. Kids are using it all the time. They're getting nighttime use out of it, which is great. I love that it shuts off at 9:30, so I can go to bed too. I'm getting old, I can't stay up. With that park, talking about that park, I know Ms. Cravel and I have talked in years past about signage. You did guys replace the rules and regulations sign and the backboards, which was great, but there's no sign marking where the park is. You drive by, you don't know what it is. I grew up in that area, so of course it's always Extension Park. I've also brought up the thought of being able to change the name of the park. And we talked before, we got a lot of great folks in this town, possibly naming the parks after one of these guys. I got, multiple times I brought up a gentleman like Tom Lynch, who's donated 35 years plus 40 years of basketball to Cinnaminson. He would be a great one. So just my opinion.
It's funny you say that, because the last meeting there was somebody that came with a deed actually to that park, and part of the deed was that the park had to be named after him. So
If it was ever anything outside of Extension Park, the park was
Awesome.
deeded,
So
it had
we'll
to
look
be
into
named
that,
after,
see.
yes.
Awesome.
Charles.
We had talked, and it was like, I don't know the legality of it. I don't know how it's deeded. Is it called Extension Park? I don't know exactly. But Palmyra Extension is what where it came from originally. A little more classy, something like before it becomes a memorial park.
Or an McKinney Park.
Before
Perfect.
someone has to go, give somebody a chance to be honored while they're still here, possibly. So, and that's just one suggestion. That's just my personal opinion. I've known the man for a long time. The third one is I'd like to thank John. I've known John for 20 years now. I came in as an applicant for a fence and an addition and all that, and John was nothing but an absolute gentleman. I hate losing good people. So I want to thank John. Whoever's coming in has got tremendous shoes to fill. I don't know if we have a candidate or a person that has been approved yet or not, but good luck finding somebody as good as John, and I'd like to thank you for all your years of service. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trampay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Shall I start it?
Yes.
Jamala Shepherd, 215 Front Street, Palmyra, New Jersey, 08065, speaking on behalf of the East Riverton Civic Club. I did forget something. the sign that says Cinnaminson Park was taken down. Does anybody know why?
It was broken.
Because I know the corner was damaged.
We have the new one, we're just waiting for the new poles to come in. So we actually also have one for extension bylaws.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just put it in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Renee Davis, 2108 Hunter Street. I just wanted to say one thing. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Aaron. Congratulations, Aaron. And the other thing, Mr. Marshall, even though I said it to him, I would like to go on record as saying thank you for all your service. Everyone talks about their dealings with you and how you've been so helpful, not only to the residents, but also the Civic Association, and you're going to be truly missed.
Thank you.
Jack Bednarik, 1105 Highland Avenue. As I am also the chair of the zoning board, and I have had the privilege to have support of John Marshall for my entire tenure there, which is longer than I can even want to think about. John not only knows all the rules and regulations and can work with people on that, he's excellent at evaluating situations. The write-ups that we get on what has to be done are superb, and when we have difficult cases and John decides to attend, we would like him to attend, the background that John has is unsurpassed. John can name names of people who owned things 35 years ago and give you the entire history of what happened, and is excellent at clarifying the record when things are getting a little off track as far as what really has happened and what the parcels have. He's going to be sorely missed. He's been the best asset anybody could ever have from my position on the board. And John will miss you. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to close public comment. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nays? The ayes have it. Next on our agenda is committee comment. Any comments from our committee tonight?
None
Start
from
with
me, Mr. Mayor.
Speakers. Anything? You said it all.
No, just thank you to John. Congratulations, Aaron.
Okay.
Congratulations, Aaron, and John was my first constant here at the Township Building. I want to wish you congratulations. I was a little girl who used to come in here with my dad, and John would do our permits and our inspections, and I think John is the only person that I ever associated with the municipal building. I don't know why, but so it's a nice full circle. So congratulations, John.
Scott?
I would just like to as well thank Erin for everything she's done for us and wish you the best. I guess in August you go to school, don't you? Congratulations. And to John, come next Friday at 4 o'clock. You can do two things for real this time. You can go spread sunshine, and you will enjoy your first actual day in paradise. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Conda.
Thank you, sir.
I would just also like to echo sentiments of my colleagues up here. Aaron, congratulations. You've been an asset. Thank you for all you've done. Loved hearing you sing and for singing at all our events. And best of luck to you. Mr. Marshall, John Necker. I have the pleasure of knowing John as a police officer in this town when I first started in the mid-'90s, and John was an asset to me, helping me back then. He also did my fence too, which it's still standing, so I appreciate it, John. Thank you. But John, thank you for being a friend, and thank you for being an asset. You will definitely be missed, your knowledge, and thank you for everything. Appreciate it. That concludes my remarks.
Okay.
If no one has anything else, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
I will make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Conda. I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. The nays have it. The ayes have it. No nays. Sorry. I know we want to get out of here. Next meeting is July 17th, 2023 at 6:30. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, and congratulations, you guys.